in the sun. But if you don't have natural light, you can use artificial light. So I don't know how big you can see me, but at the moment I'm using only natural light, and you can see that my face has a shadow on the one side, and it's not that bad because my exposure is set to be okay. But if you look at the bottom left on the screen, my exposure is set very low, and that's really bad. So the camera compensates for light automatically within a bracket that you set, right? So you tell it, I want it to be this bright or that dark, and I will show you how to control that. But I just want to show you the difference between adding in artificial light and not using artificial light. So over here, I've got a light, an LED light that you can buy at hardware stores, and I don't know, Chinatown. There's a lot of places. Any tech shop seems to be selling these LED ring lights or just LED lights for video. But I'll switch it on now, and then you can watch my screen and look at the difference. Immediately, you can see a lot more detail on my face and my environment. So when people need to figure things out, that's when they get distracted and the focus isn't on the learning, it's on whatever's happening on the screen. So when we recommend a wardrobe for like the courses that we do in studio, the same principles apply here. You want to wear clothing that isn't very distracting, logos that won't be flipped to be the opposite way around, dense patterns and things that make psychedelic effects on the screen. All of those kind of things you want to avoid, but lighting is very important and could be the main distraction or reason why somebody focuses on the poor video quality rather than the content that is given. All right, so I've got artificial light combined with natural light here now. And if you don't have artificial light, natural light is the best. So a tip there is not to turn your webcam into the light, right? Because then because of the automatic exposure that's happening, your face will be silhouetted and the environment outside will be nice and clear, but nobody's going to see you. And that's a problem. All right, so artificial light is good if you have no other option but to turn your camera into the light. Close the curtain, use artificial light, switch on your room light, and that's going to be a little bit better. And then the third point here I have with lighting is controlling your exposure. So this is actually a hack that I figured out. The standard software on your computers don't really give you the control to set your brightness. But if you go to your cameras, your default camera, it's just called camera in Windows. So you click at the start and you open up camera. There's a little icon on the left-hand side. You can see on the top square in the picture there. And if you click on that, you can then drag that bar up and down, and that'll set the exposure for your Teams conversations, for your Zoom conversations, and your PowerPoint recordings as well. That controls what the video will look like over there. Okay, so that's a very handy tip for lighting. Okay, I'd like to move on from there. Yes?
Is this something that you will show in some more detail in the next webinar? So is it something that we should show now?
So I'll touch on it briefly, but this is just the preparation for what's coming in the next, right? So people need to know how to get their cameras right. They can play around with that, with their settings, their light settings, their audio. And tomorrow we can go into actually using it. And I'll demonstrate those things in real time.
Like controlling your exposure, the camera exposure. Okay, cool.
Can you repeat what you said about when you go into camera and there's an icon on the left? What icon is that?
Okay, so if you look at on the picture on the top, above the bottom two,
yes,
it's highlighted in blue and there's a little bar next to it with
yes.
yeah. Okay, where are we?
Sorry. There we go.
Okay, yeah. So
Okay.
yeah, that the one that's highlighted in blue, that controls your exposure bracketing.
Okay. Thank you.
So if you pull it down, it will make it darker. And if you pull
Okay.
it up, it will make it brighter. So
Okay.
that's just how you control it. It's still gonna automatically shift it, but it will shift it within a bracket. So it's just a little bit in the range that you would like it. So framing, once you've got your lighting right, there's framing as well. You don't want to be with on the left third of your framing, unless you've got a board up or something that you want to show behind you. But for the most, you want to be in the center, and you'll have the other screen recording within Opencast or the slides. So yeah, the framing is very important. And then I've got angles there, right? The easiest way for me to adjust so that it looks like I'm speaking directly or engaging directly with the viewer is to raise or drop my chair, because I've got an office chair. So I can just pull the lever and I go down. So now I'm not centered anymore, and I can do the same thing to come back up and raise it somewhere there. So instead of shifting the laptop or putting books under the laptop, which you could also do, I just use my chair to move up and down and then angle the lid of the webcam so that I am in the center and I've got a little bit of headroom, and it all fits in with the communication, being able to see and engage, right? And then the eye line there as well. So I'm looking at myself now. I'm looking at myself on the right-hand side of the screen. I'm not engaging with you because I'm not looking at you. So this would look a lot better if I speak to you. It seems like I'm speaking to you and we've got better communication. So your eye line is very important as well. Look at that little lens on the top of your laptop or your webcam, wherever it is, as much as possible. Speaking about the lens, sometimes our lens has dust on it, and it's a good idea to just give it a wipe so that it's not hazy or the camera doesn't focus on the dust. That's all I'm going to mention about framing. You need to get yourself in the center. Audio. Audio is just as important as picture. That is probably something that I think audio might even be more important than the picture, because in many cases, hearing is the way that people listen because they're focusing on the slides and listening at the same time. So audio tips there is to use the best microphone you have with you. So be it a professional lapel microphone, or maybe not so professional, but semi-consumer professional, something like this. This is a Rode lapel microphone, and it works in cell phones as well. And all it is a little microphone with a clip, and you can clip that onto your chest, nice and close to your mouth, and you plug the other end into the headphone socket on your device. The best quality would come from these lapel microphones. If you don't have money for a lapel microphone, or if you don't have the time or don't feel the need, there is also your standard your headsets that come with your cell phone. They also give decent quality. So there you'll be able to listen to what's happening, and the microphone is built into the headset with pretty much all the cell phone headsets. And then there's the gaming headsets and the telecommunications company headsets, that kind of thing as well. So all of those work better than your onboard microphone. I have a microphone that can be plugged onto my computer. Would it be better to use that? Yes, if it can be plugged into your computer, if it's via USB or you have an audio interface, it's always going to be better than the onboard microphone, because that picks up everything, right? It's going to pick up the entire room. You don't want to get the entire room. You only want to get your voice. So the closer to your mouth, the better. And that leads me to reflection and absorption, right? So where you choose to record is also very important. If I were to record in my bathroom or in a lounge that I just moved into where there's no furniture, it's going to sound very reflective. There's going to be lots of echoes. You can't hear the wording clearly. And that also creates issues for the transcription, because then the transcriber can't hear the wording clearly. So even the transcription can't fix it. So what you want to do is use a room that has a lot of furniture that can absorb. So in my room, I've got a wardrobe over here. I like to use my bedroom because I've got a wardrobe behind me that's filled with clothes. I've got a bed next to me, and that also absorbs a lot of reflections in the room. And that's the kind of thing you want to do. A book rack, a bookshelf with books on it also absorbs a lot. So find a nice quiet space, but also think about the sound that you're creating and how much of that is going to bounce off the walls and the floors and come back onto your microphone. So carpets, curtains, beds, couches, all of those absorb sound and make for better sounding spaces. And then obviously the ambient sound. You might have heard that the dirt truck came past here and my windows were open. So that's not always a good idea to have a space where that's next to the road. But try and find the most quiet room and also a room that has natural light so that it fits in with it, so that the sound from the road isn't too distracting. The environment is important, ambient sound is important. And then just one tip here, I included a picture of, if you can't find an environment that isn't too distracting, like maybe you've got, I don't know, you've got crazy pictures on the wall and you don't really feel like unmounting them, or you've just got a very busy space and that's the only space that sounds good. You can use MS Teams to record your videos and then slot those videos. Oh, well, the reason why you would use MS Teams is you can blur out the background, or you can even swap out the background, right? So that changes your environment and makes it less distracting. So the picture there, I just blurred out the background. So what you're seeing now is the exact same framing. That's my room. I've got a wardrobe behind me, and for some, you don't want that to be seen, and you can just blur it out, and it makes it a whole lot less distracting. And then you can take those Teams videos and bring them into your PowerPoint. So yeah, that's a very good tip over there. So then I would like to talk briefly to the tools. So Lauren, you can go on to the next slide. Yeah, so the tools that we recommend at SILT is Narrated Powerpoint and Opencast Studio, right? So I'm just quickly going to talk to the pros and cons of the two and which one you should use for which application. So PowerPoint gives you a lot of control. You can change and edit your videos before you actually publish them, and it's got a wide range of compatibility, so you can share it on the internet, on Google, in a video view, in a presenter view, like a almost video view, but with a little bit more control, so you can pause on slides, jump back and forth. There's different formats, so it's got a lot of compatibility. You can download it from Google and share it, or just use whichever browser. So it's very compatible. And then it's powerful. So PowerPoint can do pretty much anything you're thinking of if you have enough time. So you want animation in there, you want to make a presentation or video that comes to life. PowerPoint can do that, right? But we'll go into that tomorrow when we focus on PowerPoint. And then it's got the ability to do screen recording as well. So if you've got the most recent update, you can do screen recording and demonstrate different softwares or web pages that you want to do as well. Those are the pros. The cons about PowerPoint is definitely the formats that it accepts. So if you're going to be inserting audio into PowerPoint, it's going to ask you for M4A audio. And if you're going to use the Google Slides version, of PowerPoint, say you take your PowerPoint file to Google Slides, it's going to tell you it needs MP3 files and vice versa, right? So the formats, that's one of the cons. And then the mobile compatibility, some of the media and automatic transcription doesn't always work with the mobile systems, the Android and the iOS and things. So that's definitely a con, and how you view it. It's not always as good as it is on the computer screen compared to a mobile device. And then there's different ways of viewing it, right? The students sometimes will download it to watch it offline, and then the audio won't play back when you're making a Google slide, because of the different ways that it works. So you need to check that the students know that they're going to view it online if you share it online, or you're gonna add it to lessons in Vula, or however. Just make sure that they know how to use it, because that is one of the cons. And then it can link, but can't embed in Vula lessons. Yeah, that is another thing. The media won't play in lessons, right? So you need to, they would need to download the file or watch the video or download the video. Yeah, so that's narrated PowerPoint pros and cons. Now I'm going to talk to Opencast. If you can click to the next. All right. So the pros about Opencast is you can record a complete screen or select screens. So this is very good for if you want to switch between multiple softwares. Yeah. I'm going to read that question, or we'll get to the question just now. The complete screen recording is a very helpful tool if you want to switch between softwares and demonstrations that you want to do, and even back to your camera and minimize your camera and all that. Opencast can record whatever's on the screen, and not only a selection, but it also has the option to record a selection or a specific tab or a specific application, so that whatever else you're doing around that doesn't get recorded. So that is definitely a pro. It gives you nice control about what's control over what's being recorded. And then the other pro that's very important, and this is for accessibility and file sharing and everything, is the compression, right? So off the bat, Opencast Studio will compress your video into multiple formats. And even before you start recording, if your internet isn't that fast or that stable, you can choose to record in a small file size for uploading. And that gives you the option to do that before you start recording, while you're setting up your recording. So the compression is definitely a pro there. And then the integration into Vula, being able to just record your lectures from your Vula account, that's definitely a pro as well. And then it publishes directly to your site. So that's a pro and a con for some, because sometimes you don't want your videos published directly to the site, but there's a fix coming for that very soon. And then the embedding in lessons. So Opencast Studios, it works well with the lessons function in Vula. Sorry. Okay. And then we've got the cons, right? So unlike PowerPoint, you don't have the ability to control what's happening. Everything happens on the fly. So it's sort of like you presenting in real time and recording that. So you can cut off the beginning and the end. You can cut off bits from the beginning and the end, but you can't cut off in the middle. So you can't really edit, but you can trim. All right. So that's a con there, but it's also just, it speaks to which software is right for you, right? And then it's got the instant publishing, which I spoke about, which we will be fixing soon. The improvement is coming soon. And then the other consideration there is when you're recording using Opencast Studio, if you play a video or an audio note, it's not going to record the audio. And that's a con, right? It's only going to record the audio from your microphone. So you've got your speech and you've got picture. So that's a con there. And then Sam, if you want to speak about the embedding in lessons point there, under the pros, yeah.
Sure. So there's a specific way to embed in lessons. I'll share the link if you're not familiar how to do that. So Opencast Studio is really nice because you could convert even your narrated PowerPoint to a video type format, and then you could embed it using lecture videos in lessons. So it doesn't apply only to Opencast Studio. It's just a bit quicker with Opencast Studio. We'll explain more of that later. But essentially you could have your lesson content, your text or pre-activities and stuff that Lauren mentioned earlier, that you would want to scaffold that, and then you have your lesson, your video in between your activities and content. So that's really nice, versus PowerPoint, you would have to download it. So the students would almost have to work with it offline. They won't interact with it in Vula. You can't do a nice like embed in Vula for PowerPoint.
Okay. Thanks.
Sorry.
Yes.
Unless you convert the PowerPoint to video, right?
Yes, unless you
Yeah.
convert it to video.
Okay.
Yeah. We will cover that part just now.
Yeah. Okay. So next slide there, please, Lauren. Okay. Vula lecture videos tool. Video is powerful. All right. So over here, I think Sam will take over.
Sure. So just to emphasize again, so I think most of you might be familiar that there is a lecture videos tool in Vula, and it's separate from resources. And why it's really nice is it helps compress your videos. It adds the captions and transcripts functionality we've been discussing. The transcripts are interactive too, so students can actually just search them, look for keywords, jump to that section of the video. It creates like audio only podcasts. So like if a student's traveling in public transport, they might want to listen to the video, but they can't like watch everything at that stage. Speed control, students love to fast forward, slow down even. So that type of thing is not actually available in a native PowerPoint. I have an example where you know, if someone talked for 10 minutes to one PowerPoint slide and it was a narrated PowerPoint, you wouldn't easily be able to find a certain like keyword within the 10 minutes. So you'd have to listen to the full 10 minutes. And then essentially, so that lecture videos tool, and we'll show you how to use that both with Opencast Studio and with narrated PowerPoint. It gives you the best of both worlds. Yeah. That's all the slide is about. I'll pop some links into the chat now. Oh, the next slide, Lauren. Should I carry on, Stefan? You okay?
Yes, that's cool. Sam,
Okay.
the speed and the zooming, you mentioned that. That was, I think that's also a really cool
Yeah.
pro
So
with the Vula viewer.
yeah, so it has speed control, and also you can change the resolution. So if you have like a slower connection, you drop the resolution, similar to like YouTube. So you have all of those functionalities. And then you can also zoom into certain parts. So that's often used with like blackboards, blackboard teaching, if you can't visualize, you see exactly what you needed to do. But some people have a lot of dense slides, so I guess it could be used in different contexts. So you can use your mouse wheel to zoom into certain parts. Okay,
And
thanks.
then there's one more benefit there.
Yes.
The Vula viewer, when you use Opencast Studio, is also it puts up two screens, right? And then the students can view whichever screen they want to view in a larger framing. So you can click on the face if you want to listen to the presenter more and have the slides smaller. The Vula viewer can do that. As we in with the PowerPoint video, it's going to be controlled. They can't select what they want to see bigger. So yeah, the viewer is also very powerful. It's another pro that needs to be considered when you choose software. Yeah,
definitely. So that's a nice advantage for lecture videos. So if you're using both slides and webcam and using Opencast Studio, that captures both of those, and then they can choose to focus on your face for certain aspects, or they can choose to focus on the slides, and they can switch that around. So, or they can focus on both. So yeah, it's kind of a little bit more interactive that way. Okay, so don't get scared. The slide is not as confusing as it looks. I'll put it together quickly so it looks a little bit. Okay, let's start on the right-hand side. So as we said, Opencast Studio is, you've got Opencast Studio, so you record there and it uploads direct to lecture videos in your course sites. We are adding a functionality where you'll be able to record in your home space and then transfer it to your course site when you're ready. But yeah, there's basic trimming. So you can trim the beginning and the ends, and that's available, and you can do your transcripts and captions and everything. And then narrated PowerPoint, oh, sorry, I forgot to add also with Opencast Studio or with actually lecture videos, you can upload any video file. So long as you've got some type of permissions to reuse it, you can upload any video file and it will help compress it. Sorry, dogs. It will help compress it and make it accessible for students. So the narrated PowerPoint, you can upload it into Vula resources as you would normally, and then you can also export it as a video and upload it directly into lecture videos in Vula. So you're actually getting best of both worlds, and that's, yeah, that kind of transfers then, so you get both the functionality of lecture videos and the narrated PowerPoint. There's a hand raised.
Oh yes, thank you. This is Helen from TAU. Can you hear me?
Yes, Helen, we can hear you.
Sure. All right. Okay, so I just want to ask, please, sorry for being too naive, but I just want to get it right. So when you talk of narrated PowerPoint, when we do the recording, so this is your normal PowerPoint in your computer that you're narrating and making it to be a video, or is it something else? And then on the Opencast Studio, I see that it has a direct link with Vula. So is it a tool that that is added on the Vula site that we use to record? Yeah, those are my two questions.
Stefan, do you want to respond?
Yeah, the first question, I'm just trying to think back. Can you just repeat it for me, Helen?
You know, on your computer or the desktop, you have there's a PowerPoint that we normally use to make our lecture slides and all that. So in my head, when you talk of a narrated PowerPoint, so I'm thinking of that kind of a PowerPoint, and then I don't know how you do the video recording. So I'm just thinking, do we need to download something else, or is that what we'll be using to?
No, all you do is, it's the exact same PowerPoint. But to access all the features, like we're explaining, you'll have to update it to the latest version. Okay. But if most people at UCT have Office 365 installed, and then it just pops up and you click update and it updates it, or it updates automatically. But if tomorrow when I show you how to use it, if you feel like it looks very different to what you're seeing on the screen, then you can tell me and we can help you get it updated to that version. But it should be the same for everyone if you've got the latest version installed. There's no extra add-ons needed or anything. It's just PowerPoint. So tomorrow we'll go through how to use it in depth, and we'll make sure that it shows up and how to add it. As for the Vula recording from within Vula, the lecture videos tab, I think, can be added as a tool if it doesn't show up. But I think once the course site is created, it shows up by default. It shows up automatically. Am I correct in saying that, Sam?
You have to add it, Stefan.
Oh, you have to add it. Oh, okay.
Yeah. So when you add it as Opencast Studio, or you add it as the Vula lecture video tool? Like
the lecture
videos
tool.
Yeah.
And that is the Opencast Studio that you're talking about.
Yes.
I just want, okay, sure, thanks.
Yeah, so I'll show you how to access that also tomorrow, and how to add it as a tool tomorrow as well. Yeah, so it's just under the Manage Videos tab, there's a record icon, and you'll access it there. But we'll show you everything in detail, not tomorrow, on Thursday. Opencast lecture videos will be on Thursday, and PowerPoint will be tomorrow. Okay.
We have a hand up from Carla.
Yes, thank you very much, Lauren. Sam, I just want to ask a question about the narrated PowerPoint. If you then export it as a video and then you load it up onto lecture videos in Vula, can you still not embed in the lessons?
No, you can. Once it's once it's added as a video, you can embed it into your lessons page.
Right, and so the students would then click play as a video like normal.
Yes, like a normal video.
Right, and then I'm just interested in Ray's comments. You can see the application window, example, PowerPoint and camera at the same time. So when I was in a like a consultation, and we looked at splitting the screen, so you have your video, so like your face, and then you have your PowerPoint presentation that you're now going to take the students through. When you had to click on that PowerPoint presentation in order for the slideshow to begin, the screen with the face fades away. And so you can't see where you're looking or what you're doing, or so I'm not sure if Ray's referring to that, or Sam, am I right in saying that that's not how it works?
Carla, I think maybe we should take that offline, because Rai does have a lot of experience with the tool, probably more than me. So let's have a look at that together afterwards, and just check that it's working the same in terms of both of our understanding.
Okay, thank you.
I'm just cognizant that we only got a few more minutes, and there is a few other things to check on. Yeah, can we? Stefan, do you want to do this part, or should I just continue?
Yeah, so both softwares are great to use. PowerPoint is when you need a lot of control and editing, and you want to just bring in different elements, and it's not in real time. Opencast excels at on-the-fly recordings. When you sort of mimic a lecture recording like you would in a lecture hall, Opencast is the best for that, and also the quickest turnaround time, because you're presenting directly to the students, and then you can just trim the beginning and the end, and your video's done. Yeah, and then the transcripts are easier in Opencast Studio, because it does it automatically, and you can request better transcripts as well. And for the best of both worlds, you can use a combination of both softwares. Yeah, let's move on from this point. So it's really about what you want to do. Okay, Sam, over to you.
Great, thanks. I'm actually going to go through some slides quite quickly, and I'm just posting. So something that is maybe I can just quickly share screens. I think it might be a bit quicker that way. Thanks, Lauren. I'm just going to share the full screen and see my messy desktop. So I just popped something pro PowerPoint there into the chats, but that's a separate conversation. So there are some pro PowerPoints that it adds more interactivity and certain things, but yeah, that's going to be covered probably tomorrow. And then, so self-recording in lecture venues, I don't know if people are familiar with this, and it's not as great as doing a screencast or doing a narrated PowerPoint, because you don't have full control. There are sometimes technical issues in venues, and you obviously have to organize access and everything. But sometimes we found some lecturers that use a lot of blackboards for teaching. They find it the most easiest thing, if they don't have access to a tablet or aren't used to writing on a tablet, that this might be useful for them. So just, you'll have to book the venue. I don't know if bookings are yet available. There's a notice there on the course timetable, the resource booker, where you're going to book on UCT central systems. And then you have to do your health check, obtain access. I think different faculties have different regulations in terms of how to get campus access. Then you schedule on Vula, and we're looking at integrating this more so that it's a bit easier and won't schedule directly to your Vula course site. And then you just need to check that you actually it's capturing when you start lecturing, because we don't want you to, there's a technical error and it wasn't showing as capturing during your actual lecture or your actual video that you're creating. Any questions? Sorry, we're going quite quickly. Okay, I'll if anyone raises a question in the chat, you can do that. But obviously this is a secondary option. So I just wanted to point you to a new tool that we have. I'll pop this into the chats and you can just have a look at it. So SILT is piloting 4 new tools this semester, and we're very excited about our new tools. And WooClub actually integrates with PowerPoint and Microsoft Teams. And you can also use it on Vula, not currently in lessons, but you can use it as a tool on the left-hand side. And it's kind of like interactive type questions. Think a little bit like a Mentimeter, like polls, but also like self-paced. So you'll see if I open this, you probably have it open on your side already. I've done this questionnaire already, but it's got like these steps. There's a video component in this, so you can embed videos. And then I've put my insight is that I've learned so much, but you know, you can add whatever things are in there. And I think there's just 1 or 2 more points. You're getting my notifications. So teaching with videos, we have a guide that we put together, and there's a link to this, so that will be in the slides when we share that. And then we have a whole lot of different guides and resources available for everyone. So we have also the Vula help desk. We have one-on-one consultations. So Stefan and his team are all available to chat to you if you need any assistance, practical assistance. That's one-on-one consultations. And then there's webinars and workshops for course design. So there's a Rapid Design Studio. It's actually coming up on Thursday, I think. Design Studio. And then this online teaching community. So that's all on our website. And that's a wrap.